I could tell just from a handful of clips that Disney had put out on X what I was walking into. I mean, the dialogue, the delivery, it sounds like a bunch of 2025 teenagers on Snapchat and
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, it
Well,
just
I mean, I'll say the clips that came out on X and everywhere makes the movie look a lot better than it really is.
Oh man. Now
Yeah.
now I have to go see this tomorrow night.
There's a
So
lot of storytelling problems. You know, the music was such a letdown.
you didn't like Princess Problems? Come on. Renegade Online. IGN says that Snow White is the best Disney live-action remake in a decade. That's not a particularly high bar, to be clear, IGN says. They've only been doing these for a decade. So, in other words, IGN says that this is the best Disney live-action thing ever. Of course, there are others out there, like at Rotten Tomatoes, 48% now, with 87 reviews in. And somebody who's probably got some thoughts on this from Film Threat, please welcome Alan Eng. How are you?
Oh, I'm gone. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
I don't know if I liked Emilia Perez more.
Oh,
less.
oh, dude.
Oh my gosh, this movie was. Look, the word I got going in was the movie's good, not great. You know,
I saw you say that. Yeah.
Yeah, they fixed things. They all the weird stuff is not there. And then I actually watched the movie, and it was awful. I would rather watch Mufasa than Snow White again.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And you know, it's fun. So you had the same reaction that our mutual friend Shad Brooks had. He posted this morning on X that basically the same thing. It was terrible. And I told him, I said, look, I could tell just from the handful of clips that Disney had put out on X what I was walking into. I mean, the dialogue, the delivery, it sounds like a bunch of 2025 teenagers on Snapchat and stuff. I mean, it just.
Well, I mean, I'll say the clips that came out on X and everywhere makes the movie look a lot better than it really is.
Oh man! Now I have to go see this tomorrow night.
There's a lot of storytelling problems. There's you know, the music was such a letdown.
Prince, you didn't like Princess Problems? Come on.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's just so, I guess misguided is a lot of what I'll say about this movie. I think they had intentions going in. Here's the thing. I think when people like it, it's based on the fact that, you know, I think they know what we have been saying about this movie 3 years ago when Rachel Zegler was at D23 talking about this movie. And, you know, and the constant drumbeat, let's be real, we've not been high on this movie at all.
No.
And I think people who saw the movie and realize it's not as bad as what we thought it was going to be, that people are saying, yeah, it's good. You know, she does a great job, but I think if you look at it just as a movie and as a story, as a piece of storytelling, it's a very bad movie. Just like Emilia Perez is a very bad musical.
Yeah, with really bad music in it. And I don't mean that just lyrically. I mean, that's just, I mean, I don't want to go down that road again because that was a nightmare. But, I mean, with Snow White, and I talked about this in a video I put out last night. I mean, the big issue is this. You're looking at what they're hoping for at this point, hoping that they actually break 100 million global on its opening weekend.
Yeah.
That's
let me address that. I think it will. Look, this movie is for kids.
Yep.
It's for single-digit age kids. And look, that's a powerful market. And look, Mufasa proved that a bad movie can make $700 million. And I think Snow White is in the same category. I'll give you the reason why. The only time my audience audibly said things, there were two moments. One was a really bad moment, but for the rest of the movie, this movie is full of so many cute animals that it's going to make your heart melt. In fact, the movie starts, you know how the original movie starts with the book, the Once Upon a Time book? Well, it starts with that book, but there's a cute little hedgehog sitting on top of it. That's how the movie starts. And the first sound you hear in the theater is, "Aw." And then the movie just has every single frame of this movie has a cute animal in it. And I think kids will resonate with that. And this movie will make over $100 million global on opening weekend.
I mean, it should, Alan. I mean, 100 million is that's frankly a really low bar for a movie of this scale. And we talked about the other day how, and I don't know if I still have the window up. I might. Yeah, here you go. Moana 2, 389 million, just for comparison. Its opening weekend globally.
Yeah.
And that's just 3-4 months ago now. Now, that opened over the Thanksgiving frame, and it continued to leg through Christmas. Mufasa, we talked about that one as well. The big difference with Mufasa was even from the beginning, there was a very heavy international skew. So 2-1, basically, international. 250 million of it came from the U.S. and Canada, and the other 500 million or so, 460 million, whatever it was.
But isn't that pretty on par for Disney?
Not
2-1.
For some of them. For some of them, it has been. But
I mean, Wish. As much as we hated Wish, I believe that was the same thing. It was a 2-1 international domestic box office.
It was because the domestic box office was so pitiful for it. Yeah. But Moana 2 was pretty much what you'd normally expect. It was about 55-45 favoring international as opposed to 65-35 like it was. So my point is that with Snow White's opening right now, what has me concerned, if I go back here, this split it's about 50-50. They're assuming out of the 100 million that we're going to see about 50 million U.S. and about 50 million from other countries. It's got a pretty unified global opening. So that international figure, that's what I was thinking. I had been reserving my predictions on what would happen with this for several weeks because until yesterday, we didn't have anybody giving us a beat on what the international opening was going to be. I was thinking that, well, maybe it might look like Mufasa and it might be a $70-80 million international opening, but when it came back around 50-55, I was like, ooh, that's not good. You are correct, and I've said the same thing to my audience about how this, these kind of movies, they're not going to perform like a Marvel film, which are very front-loaded. People that want to go see these, they buy a lot of advance tickets. Yeah. By the time you get about 5 to 7 days into the run, you've got almost half, if not over half of the box office pretty much already baked in, domestic and international, and then it just kind of drifts out from there. With this, you're right. Families tend to stretch out more. You have staggered weeks of Easter break or spring break over the next 3 to 4 weeks. So that could play into it. It's just...
Yeah, and if you have kids, you don't pre-buy tickets. You don't buy your tickets early.
Exactly. There's going to be walk-up traffic, but even at this point, they feel like that, this is calculating walk-up traffic. So, and these figures have continued to compress further and further. I mean, we had 50-60, then we had 50-55. Now they're saying 45-50 domestic. I don't think this movie is going to do worse than Captain Falcon, but I don't know if it's, and this is the one thing that I've used as the measuring stick. I don't know if it's going to beat Little Mermaid, 570 million. Because the thing with, Little Mermaid has been, for the last 30 years, it's a far bigger seller. Ariel's been a far bigger seller than Snow White has in terms of merch and popularity and all the spin-off, sequel, the music. Snow White is definitely, it's the biggest thing character-wise for Disney for obvious reasons, because it's the oldest one they've got. But if Ariel couldn't pull off 600 million. And that was 2023. I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot of theatrical audience behavioral difference between 23 and today. Now if it had come out in 21 or 22, we could have that conversation. But 23, by that point, we'd had a lot of big things in theaters, and Ariel couldn't break 600 million. I'd be really shocked if this surpassed Little Mermaid. Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.